morning. Wearing the plaid blanket poncho. I made this a few years back. It's quite comfortable. It's surprisingly warm for wearing on a cold day like this, and it is a cold morning. It is cold. COVID may not be over, but we are now in the stage where businesses are open and people are functioning, and I go to work 4 days a week. Oh, yeah. And things are getting better. Things are getting better. Oh, pardon me. Oh, wow. Deep-seated. Nice. Yeah. Oh. There is in the world a movement to drag us into the past. It is right-wing American Christian fundamentalism, and it has spread to Canada, and it is frightening and disturbing. It is also incredibly destructive and harmful and counterproductive, and it is poison. It is a poison of the body politic. It is a poison of society. It is a poison that leads to all manner of backward right-wing ideological nonsense. Among it, young earth creationism and flat eartherism. That's also a part of it, but young earth creationism. Young earth creationism is a disease. It is a disease of the mind, and I believe that it is a result of these people desperately wanting a daddy figure. A daddy who will look after them, who will take responsibility for them, and absolve them of personal accountability for their own actions and behaviors. And that's what these people are looking for. They're looking for a daddy. And young earth creationism allows them to have a daddy who tells them they're special, who tells them how wonderful they are and how great they are simply for being born in a particular country and having a particular complexion and believing a certain amount of crap and bullshit. And their blind belief in this ideological nonsense of young earth creationism would not be so harmful if they weren't also exercising political power. And it's the political power that they wield that makes them truly dangerous. Political power in the hands of lunatics and maniacs and fanatics. That's scary. And these people want to subordinate science to their ideology. Now, we already saw what happened in the Soviet Union when science was subordinated to ideology. Lysenkoism, the teachings of Teofim Lysenko, a pseudoscientist fraud who was able to convince Stalin and Beria that his new biology, Lysenkoism, which is based on the application of religious state communism to Lamarckian evolution, that this would supersede the bourgeois ideas of the capitalist Charles Darwin. And so Lysenkoism was implemented. And of course, Lysenkoism was a disaster. But being committed ideologically to a pseudoscience meant that the Soviet Union, instead of saying, okay, Lysenko is a fraud, is a con man, they doubled down. Stalin doubled down, and yes, we all know about the genocide or near genocide in the Ukraine. Some people prefer not to call it a full genocide. We all know about that. But what we don't know is the reason for it wasn't just opposition to Stalin's policies, but it was also accusations of treason after they tried to follow Lysenkoism and it blew up in their faces and they said it doesn't work. And rather than listening to them, Stalin said, okay, they're committing treason. They're deliberately sabotaging Lysenkoism. They weren't sabotaging it. But Stalin was so ideologically committed to Lysenko that he would not allow Darwinian evolution to be given any voice in biology in the Soviet Union. And as a result, Soviet biology lagged behind. And the same thing happened in China. Lysenko superseded Darwin, and as a result, Chinese agriculture fell off to nothing. And there was a famine, just like there was in the Soviet Union decades before. Because two men, Stalin and Mao, were both ideologically committed to Lysenkoism. And that's the same thing with the Americans and young Earth creationism. The ideological commitment to a pseudoscientific claim that they believe must supersede actual science. Young Earth creationism is like Lysenkoism. It is ideological nonsense. And yet, it is being pushed and promoted aggressively, not just by the American Republican Party and the American Democrats, but also here in Canada by a small but growing branch of the Conservative Party. Something to think about. Young Earth creationism is not science, but the people who are pushing it want it to be presented as science. And we have to stop them. Young Eartherism is not science. Flat Eartherism is not science. Both are the ideologically driven denial of science. When you have the ideological denial of science, you begin to end up like the Soviet Union or Communist China under Mao. You start having disasters and famines. Don't let young Eartherism become policy. Just don't.